Today I'm going to show you which animals could undoubtedly defeat a lion. But before we get into it, let's talk about the lion itself. Because to understand why these 6 animals can beat it, you first need to understand exactly what they're up against. And the lion is no ordinary rival. The African lion, Panthera leo, is the second largest feline in the world, only behind the Siberian tiger. An adult male can weigh between 180 and 250 kilograms, measure up to 2.5 meters in length, not counting the tail, and reach speeds of up to 80 kilometers per hour in short distances. That makes it one of the fastest animals on the savannah in a sprint. But speed is only part of it. The lion's bite exerts a pressure of between 400 and 650 kilograms per square centimeter. Its canines can measure up to 8 centimeters in length, enough to reach the trachea or jugular artery of a prey, and cause death within minutes. Its retractable claws, which can reach 7 centimeters, are designed to grip and not let go. When a lion grabs its prey, the muscular instinct keeps the grip locked even under extreme pressure. And then there's the mane. Many people see it as purely aesthetic, as a status symbol, and yes it is, but it also serves a very specific tactical function. The mane acts as a natural shield around the neck and throat, which are the most vulnerable areas in any feline. In a confrontation, a rival that tries to bite in that area finds itself facing a barrier of dense hair and tissue that makes it extremely difficult to reach anything vital. It is basically biological armor. On top of all that, the lion doesn't hunt alone. It lives in groups called prides, which can have between 3 and 40 individuals, although the most common is between 10 and 15. The females are the main hunters, more agile and coordinated, but the males step in when there's a real rival to face. The tactical coordination of a lion pride is comparable in terms of effectiveness to that of a military hunting unit. They flank, cut off escape routes, distribute roles. They don't improvise, they execute. And yet, with all that biological machinery perfectly tuned by millions of years of evolution, there are animals that beat it, and not by luck. We're going from number 6 to number 1, and I'm warning you right now, number 1 has no possible debate. Number 6, giraffe. We start with number 6. And I know exactly what you're thinking. The giraffe. That extremely long neck, those distinctive spots, that figure that seems to come from another planet. It doesn't exactly give the image of a dangerous animal. It's in last place in this ranking because it's the most conditional option of all, the one that depends the most on context and positioning to win the confrontation. But being in number 6 doesn't mean it's harmless. It means the lion has more room here than with the rest. And even so, that room has cost more than one feline its life. The giraffe has killed lions, adult lions, in full condition, and it has done so in such a direct and efficient way that the researchers who documented it described it as one of the most destructive strikes they had ever seen in wild nature. Let's start with the numbers. An adult giraffe, Giraffa camelopardalis, can measure up to 5.8 meters in height, making it the tallest land animal on the planet. Its weight ranges between 800 and 1,200 kilograms in adults. It doesn't have the mass of the hippo or the elephant, but it has something that very few animals possess at that magnitude: reach. The distance between where the giraffe stands and where it can land a kick in an instant is enormous, and that reach is, tactically, a brutal advantage. A giraffe's legs are not just long. They are columns of bone and compact muscle that end in hooves roughly the size of a dinner plate, with edges sharpened by the natural wear of the terrain. The force generated by a giraffe's kick has been estimated at over 550 kilograms of impact concentrated at that point of contact. To put it in perspective, that is enough to fracture a lion's skull in a single blow. Not weaken it, fracture it. And there are documented cases of exactly that. Lions with fractured skulls, broken spines, or chests crushed by the direct impact of a giraffe's leg. What makes this weapon even more dangerous is its versatility. The giraffe can kick forward, backward, and sideways, with a range of motion that its anatomy allows with relative ease. No matter what angle the predator approaches from, there is a leg within range. And when the giraffe detects a threat, it doesn't freeze or flee immediately. It orients itself, locates the attacker, and if the attacker doesn't back off, it launches that kick with a precision that seems almost counterintuitive for an animal of that size. There is also the neck strike, known in ethology as necking. Although in its defensive use it is different from when males use it against each other in dominance rituals. Using the neck as a lever arm of almost 2 meters in length, the giraffe can strike a lateral attacker with considerable force. It's not as lethal as the kick, but it's enough to disorient, injure, and, in the case of a predator the size of a lion, potentially knock it out or fracture bones. Lions do hunt giraffes, that's real, but the strategy they need to do so says a lot about the level of danger this animal represents. Hunting an adult giraffe requires nighttime coordination from the entire pride, multiple individuals, And the main objective is always the same: bring it down. Because as long as the giraffe is standing, its legs are lethal. Only on the ground with limited movement does it lose that advantage. And even then, many giraffes manage to get back up during the process and escape, or kill one of their hunters before finally falling. Number 6. But underestimating the giraffe is a mistake some lions have only made once. Number 5. White rhinoceros. Number 5 belongs to an animal that looks like it was designed by someone who wanted to build something completely impenetrable, and then, just in case, added a weapon to its face. The southern white rhinoceros, Ceratotherium simum, is the second largest land animal in the world after the elephant. An adult male weighs between 1,800 and 2,500 kilograms, although the largest documented specimens have exceeded 3,000 kilograms. They measure up to 4 meters in length and nearly 2 meters in height at the shoulder. They are basically an armored mass with its own propulsion. It sits at number 5 and not higher because in open conditions with enough distance, the lion can maneuver and avoid the charge. The rhinoceros is powerful, but its vision is poor and its attack range is more predictable than that of the buffalo or the hippo. Even so, if the encounter happens, the outcome for the lion is rarely favorable. The horn is the most well-known and visually striking part, but understanding what it's made of is what makes it truly impressive. The rhinoceros horn is not bone. It is composed of compacted layers of keratin, the same protein material that forms your nails and hair, but compressed over decades until it reaches exceptional density and hardness. The front horn, the longest one, can measure between 60 and 150 centimeters in mature specimens. And that length, combined with the musculature of the rhinoceros's neck and shoulders, turns it into a piercing weapon with devastating impact force. There are documented records of rhinoceroses that have pierced the metal bodywork of safari vehicles, steel doors. This is not a metaphor or an exaggeration. Now, the skin. The rhinoceros's skin is between 1.5 and 5 centimeters thick depending on the area of the body, with the most exposed areas being naturally thicker. For a predator that relies on its bite and claws to cause damage, that skin is an enormous problem. The lion's fangs can scratch the surface, can try to penetrate, but reaching vital organs or tissues through that layer is, in practice, nearly impossible. The rhinoceros can take the lion's attack and remain completely functional while it counterattacks. And the rhinoceros counterattacks fast. Despite its mass, the white rhinoceros can run up to 50 kilometers per hour in short distances. That makes it faster than many animals of its size and, crucially, faster than a lion can dodge if it isn't well positioned. A rhinoceros charge at that speed, with that mass and that horn leading the way, generates an impact that no feline can absorb and survive under normal conditions. What happens in nature says it all. Lions occasionally try to hunt rhinoceros calves when the mother isn't nearby. But a fully developed adult rhinoceros in peak condition is not a target that any lion pride actively pursues. The lions know it. And so does the rhinoceros. Number 4. Nile crocodile. Number 4 belongs to the absolute master of the ambush. And it sits in 4th place for one very specific reason. Its advantage depends almost entirely on the environment. In the water, it is practically unbeatable. On dry land, the balance shifts. But in the water, the crocodile turns any encounter with a lion into a death sentence. The Nile crocodile, Crocodilus niloticus, is the largest reptile in Africa and the second largest in the world. An adult male specimen can reach between 4 and 6 meters in length and weigh between 500 and 900 kilograms. But again, size here is secondary. What makes the Nile crocodile a top-tier killer is a combination of factors that evolution has been perfecting for more than 200 million years. That's not an exaggeration. Crocodiles are basically the same as when dinosaurs still existed. Evolution looked at them, decided they were fine exactly as they were, and left them that way. Its bite is the most powerful recorded in any living animal today. Over 2,000 kilograms of pressure per square centimeter. That is triple the bite of a lion. When the crocodile's jaws close around something, that something does not get released. Not because the crocodile chooses to maintain the grip through effort, but because the muscular mechanics of its lower jaw work in such a way that the closure intensifies with resistance. The more the prey struggles, the more pressure is applied. It is a perfect trap mechanism. The Nile crocodile does not attack in open ground. It does not chase. It does not run. It waits. And its capacity to wait is practically unlimited. It can remain completely still for hours, with its body submerged under the water and only its eyes and nostrils above the surface. Its eyes are positioned at the top of the skull precisely for this purpose. It can observe everything happening on the bank without exposing any part of its body. It is invisible from land. It is a trap that breathes. In the African savanna, water is scarce and the drinking spots are the same every single day. The lions know it. The crocodiles know it too. And at those water points, the crocodile has the absolute advantage. The moment a lion lowers its head toward the surface, it reduces its field of vision, exposes itself laterally, and that is all the crocodile needs. The attack from the water lasts fractions of a second. Once the jaws close around the lion, the crocodile executes the death roll. It begins to spin on its own axis at a surprising speed, generating torsional forces that tear muscle tissue, dislocate joints, and fracture bones. The objective is twofold: incapacitate the prey and drag it into deeper water where it drowns. In that environment, the lion has no effective tools. Its claws have no grip underwater, it cannot breathe, it cannot orient itself, and the crocodile's strength in its own element is absolutely superior. This is not theory. National Geographic and the BBC have real footage of Nile crocodiles capturing and killing adult lions in the river. It happens with a frequency that would surprise most people, and the outcome, every single time those conditions are met, is always the same. Number 3. Cape buffalo. The podium starts here, and the bronze goes to the animal that statistically kills more lions on a recurring basis than any other across the entire African continent. The Cape buffalo. Syncerus caffer. In the culture of African hunters and park rangers, it has a very specific nickname: Black Death. And that nickname is not earned by being a peaceful herbivore grazing on the savanna without bothering anyone. An adult buffalo weighs between 500 and 900 kilograms. It's not the largest on this ranking, that's true. But what the Cape buffalo loses in size, it makes up for with a combination of characteristics that make it, in terms of real and documented danger, one of the most lethal animals on the African continent. It kills approximately 200 humans per year according to African National Park records. And with lions, the track record is equally devastating. Its horns are the first element to analyze, but not individually. The most remarkable feature of the Cape buffalo's horn structure is the boss, which is the fused base that connects both horns and covers the top of the skull like a continuous shield of compacted keratin. That boss can be up to 10 centimeters thick in mature adult males, which means that the most accessible area for a lion to attempt a bite, the top of the skull, is precisely the most armored zone of the animal. Lions need to completely redirect their attack because the frontal entry is effectively blocked. The horns themselves, once they extend beyond the boss, curve outward and then upward and inward, creating a hook shape that in a lateral head movement can deliver goring strikes of devastating penetration and force. There are documented cases of lions with horn punctures that went through their thoracic cavities. Injuries that are directly incompatible with survival. But here is the element that makes the Cape buffalo truly exceptional: its social behavior under threat. The buffalo is a herd animal with groups that can range from a few dozen to several thousand individuals. And when one of those individuals is attacked, the herd does not scatter and flee. It does the opposite. It comes back. This behavior, extensively documented and filmed in some of the most watched sequences in the history of nature documentaries, is called in animal ethology mobbing, or collective harassment response. The buffaloes detect the sound of a member in danger, locate it, and part or all of the herd charges in that direction. Not in a disorganized way, in a coordinated way, with the determination to push away or destroy the attackers. And when hundreds of animals weighing between 500 and 900 kilograms each converge on a group of lions, the result is devastating for the felines. There is specific footage, some of it publicly available, where lions can be seen literally launched into the air by the impact of charging buffaloes, crushed under the hooves of the herd, or running for their lives while the buffaloes actively pursue them. In those moments, the lion is not the predator, it is the prey. And then there is the memory. A buffalo that has survived a lion attack does not always move on and forget it. There are recorded cases where wounded buffaloes have tracked their attackers for extended periods after the incident. Not to flee, to go back. And when an 800-kilogram buffalo decides to go back and find the one that attacked it, the encounter tends to have only one winner. The Cape buffalo is the only herbivore on the savanna that makes the lion stop and evaluate the risk before deciding whether the attack is worth it. And that, in the language of animal hierarchy, says absolutely everything. Number 2, hippopotamus. And if it weren't for number 1, the hippopotamus would be the undisputed champion of this entire list. The hippopotamus. An animal that most people underestimate because they see it as clumsy, slow, almost comical with that oversized figure. But listen to this. The hippopotamus is, statistically, the most lethal animal in all of Africa for any creature that crosses its path. Not the lion, not the crocodile, the hippopotamus. An adult male hippopotamus can weigh between 1,500 and 3,200 kilograms, almost 3.5 tons in the largest specimens. To give you a real sense of what that means, we are talking about the weight of 3 compact cars stacked on top of each other, but alive, with an active nervous system, with an explosive temperament, and with tusks of up to 50 centimeters in length. And those tusks, which are technically hypertrophied lower canines, are not there for eating. The hippopotamus is completely herbivorous. Those tusks exist exclusively to fight, to mark territory, to make permanently and unmistakably clear who is in charge. Let's compare directly with the lion. The lion has a bite of between 400 and 650 kilograms of pressure per square centimeter. An impressive figure. The hippopotamus jaw generates over 800 kilograms per square centimeter. Double. And with a jaw opening of up to 150 degrees, it can literally wrap around the body of a predator and close with a force that snaps bones like dry branches. There are documented cases of hippopotamuses that have split adult crocodiles in half with a single bite. Not multiple bites. One. But there is something else that makes the hippopotamus especially dangerous against the lion. Its skin. The skin of a hippopotamus measures between 4 and 5 centimeters thick across most of the body. The lion's fangs, which remember can reach up to 8 centimeters and are designed to pierce tracheas and arteries, have enormous difficulty penetrating that skin to a useful depth. The lion can bite, it can try to grip, but causing real damage to a hippopotamus from the outside is, in practice, nearly impossible. And then there is the speed, which is what surprises people the most. The hippopotamus can run up to 30 kilometers per hour on land in short distances. It is not the fastest animal in the ecosystem, but it is fast enough to catch a predator that is not sufficiently alert. And in the water, where it spends between 12 and 16 hours a day regulating its body temperature, it is completely dominant. It can stay underwater for up to 5 minutes and move with an agility that its size would not suggest. In nature, lions actively avoid hippopotamuses. That is not cowardice. That is evolutionary intelligence. The hippopotamus does not need anyone to confirm that it can win this confrontation. Its ancestors have been winning it for millions of years. A well-earned silver medal. But there is one that stands above everything else. Number 1, African elephant. Number 1, and there is no surprise here for anyone who has followed the list. Because there is a point at which the difference between two animals stops being a competition and becomes something else entirely. That point is the African elephant. The African savanna elephant, Loxodonta africana, is the largest land animal on the planet. No debate. An adult male can weigh between 5,000 and 7,000 kilograms, measure up to 4 meters in height at the shoulder, and up to 7 meters in length. That is, to put it in context, approximately 30 times the weight of an adult lion. 30 times. But the elephant doesn't just win by weight. It wins through a combination of intelligence, memory, social coordination, and capacity for damage that places it in a completely different category from any other animal on this list. Let's start with intelligence because that is what sets the elephant apart from many other large animals. The African elephant has the largest brain of any land animal, weighing around 5 kilograms. And it uses that brain. Elephants recognize the individuals within their own herd and those from other herds. They recognize predators by smell, by sound, and in some documented studies, even by sight. They know which animals represent a threat to their young and which ones don't. And when they classify something as a threat, the response is not to flee. The response is to eliminate the threat. An elephant charge is perhaps one of the most terrifying experiences that exists in land wildlife. An elephant can reach 40 kilometers per hour in the moments before impact. At that speed, with between 5 and 7 tons of moving mass, the physical impact is absolutely incompatible with the survival of any animal the size of a lion. The impact itself can already be fatal. But if the impact doesn't kill, what comes after does. The elephant can use its tusks, which in adult males can measure between 1.5 and 2.5 meters and weigh between 20 and 45 kilograms each, to strike, lift, and throw a rival. It can use its trunk, which has a muscular strength equivalent to lifting over 300 kilograms, to strike, grip, and slam against the ground. And it can use its legs, which have an enormous contact surface, to crush directly. At Kruger National Park in South Africa, rangers have recorded and documented multiple lion deaths caused by elephants. These are not isolated events. They are part of the normal behavioral record of the park. And the most revealing detail in those records is this. In practically every single case, the elephant was not the victim of the attack. It was the aggressor. It was the elephant that decided the lion was too close and took the initiative. And if there is still any doubt about the level of imbalance in this confrontation, here is the definitive piece of data. For a lion pride to have any real chance of hunting a healthy adult elephant, They need a minimum of 10 to 15 individuals working in perfect coordination for several hours, generally at night, to take advantage of the darkness, attacking specific points such as the tendons of the hind legs in an attempt to bring it down. And even under those conditions, with all that numerical and tactical advantage, the success rate is low and the cost in injured members within the pride is significant. A healthy adult elephant against a single lion. No analysis needed there, no debate, no condition that changes the outcome. The undisputed number one, the largest land animal on the planet, and the one that turns any notion of the lion being invincible into exactly what it is, a myth. So there you have the complete ranking, from number 6 to number 1, with real data and documented cases. At number 6, the giraffe, whose lethal kick has caught more than one lion completely off guard. At number 5, the white rhinoceros, armored and armed in a way that makes the lion's attack ineffective before it even begins. At number 4, the Nile crocodile, the perfect trap underwater, with the most powerful bite of any living animal. At number 3, the Cape buffalo, the animal that kills more lions on a recurring basis than any other in Africa, that doesn't flee, that remembers, and that comes back. At number 2, the hippopotamus, the most lethal animal in Africa for any creature that crosses its path, with a jaw that doubles the bite force of the lion itself. And at number 1, with no possible debate, the African elephant, the only animal on this list that turns a confrontation with a lion not into a competition, but into a demonstration of scale. The lion is an extraordinary predator, one of the best designed that evolution has ever produced on land. But nature does not work with undefeated champions, it works with balance. And this ranking is the clearest proof that on the savannah, the title of king is earned and defended every single day, and it doesn't always end well. If you made it to the end, you now handle information about African wildlife that most people simply don't have. Share this with someone who still believes the lion has no rival.